So I'm seeing this slightly disturbing trend online where field workers, quantum healers who are trained in quantum field work and light body architecture, implant removal, and things like that. I guess, if you're a lay person, we would call them psychics or clairvoyants, people who can see into your light body, they can read your auric field, and they can see if you've got implants or you've got cords attaching you to another person and all kinds of things. They are basically posting content where they take photos of celebrities or other people, sometimes their audience. Audience is fine, okay? My issue is with the celebrities, where they're taking photos of celebrities and they're scanning their field and telling you what they see. I hesitated to talk about this, because firstly, I don't want to be calling people out by name or stitching their videos to show you exactly what I mean, because I don't want to be promoting their work. One of them in particular is a raging Zionist. She is a genocide denying, Islamophobic, genocidal racist. And I have posted her here on my stories before. This is so unethical, okay? And it's a complete misuse of these gifts, okay? It's extremely concerning that people are doing this. Yeah, and I don't really want to be like calling people out by name, because sometimes these people don't necessarily, if they haven't been properly trained and initiated, they don't know that what they're doing is very, very unethical and violates universal law principles of consent. Okay? You're not supposed to be accessing somebody's light body without their consent. Okay? Now, yeah, I don't really care that much about celebrities. I know a lot of them have sold their soul to and are promoting just dark programs and spiritual, psychological warfare against humanity. But it is still not cool to be accessing their light body and scanning their light body and telling everybody about what implants they're carrying, or basically detailing their sexual trauma and, talking about it to everyone and, telling people what you see going on with this person, okay? Sometimes we can be shown things about people without, going into their really being very rapey with our inner vision, and going into their light body. Sometimes we can just be shown something about, auras, for example, are very easy to see. It's just looking at somebody's auric field in the quantum field. It can just show itself to you, because it's like looking at somebody across a room. It just shows itself. Or if somebody has an entity attachment, that's sometimes very, very easy to see, because it will just it'll literally pop out at you sometimes through their eyes. You can just see it. Or through things that they say, that's all fine. I'm not saying that there's a problem with people talking about that. But I have seen people will actually say, oh, you have an implant in your right hemisphere. There was one who was talking about Candace Owens, who I don't like Candace Owens, but she was obviously attacking Candace Owens for her anti-Israel stance and saying that she had an implant in her right hemisphere, and that was, I don't want to say exactly what she said, because I don't want her to recognize herself, but she probably will anyway, because how many quantum healers are raging Zionists? But yeah, scanning somebody's light body and talking about what implants they've got inside their light body, if they've got betrayal implants in their womb space from being cheated on, or from rape trauma, is completely fucking unethical. And if somebody is doing this online, and look, I get why they're doing this, because it's a very, very effective way of demonstrating what this work can do. And so obviously a lot of people are very wowed by it and can't believe that this exists. And so these people are very busy with bookings as a result. But I'm telling you guys, what this person is doing is unethical, and it's violating the consent of the person in question, okay? Which means that person doesn't understand the basics of spiritual hygiene and spiritual consent, which means that they're not a safe practitioner to work with, okay? Can they improve? Can they get better? Of course they can, and they need to. But if you see anybody doing this, I would advise you to not book a session with them, okay? Because they're not understanding the fundamentals of spiritual ethics that you need to have in order to do this work. In order to do this work, you have to have very, very high integrity, very, very high morals. Okay, these gifts, these abilities, they come from God. And when you have a connection to the Most High, it starts to open up these gifts that we all naturally have. And if this person doesn't have that source connection, then it makes me wonder where their gifts are coming from, and if their gifts are, if they're channeling those gifts through nefarious negative entities. Okay, and that makes them unsafe practitioners to work with. Okay, so just let this be a warning.